Phew, that's been a lot of information up until now. Luckily for us, I'd say the hard part is over. Once we've gotten the DOM content loaded, the next step is simple. We build the render tree, which has all the information that we need from the DOM and the CSS OM, how to construct the page. From there, the browser figures out the layout and the positioning of each one of these elements, and then finally paints it. And we have the load event that happens. Now you see over here, there's one more step, step number 8, which is JavaScript. And this is probably things that you're most familiar with. If JavaScript events change any part of the page, it causes a redraw of the render tree. And it forces us to go through the layout and paint again. And that's what web apps are, right? Users interact with the page and the JavaScript constantly modifies the page by cycling through the render tree, layout, and paint. And we keep going in a circle here. Now, modern browsers are smart enough to only conduct a partial redraw. But we can't rely on this being efficient or performant. So it's our job to make that efficient. So looking at this, it looks like we definitely do want to minimize DOM manipulation and not get too carried away. Having said that, obviously JavaScript is largely event-based on the client side, and we want it to manipulate our DOM. So it's going to do that, but we just have to limit the underperformant effects that we can cause with it. Now, let's recap one more time what we've learned with the critical render path. We've learned how to optimize each one of these files in the critical render path so that our browsers can display the web page or web app as soon as possible for the user. We also should have a better understanding of this silly little animation that I made at the beginning of the section. We now understand how HTML and CSS get downloaded. We also know how the construction of the DOM tree and the CSS OM is being constructed. We also know that JavaScript gets downloaded and then acts upon those two trees. And then finally, using both of those, we're able to construct the render tree. And then finally, well, not finally, and then we get the layout, figure out the layout from the render tree. We paint pixels on the screen. And then finally, we have our web page displayed. And oh yeah, we also have our little image that gets loaded in the background. Whew, that's a lot of work. Pretty impressive for browsers. Now, I'm going to leave some of those files that I used in these videos so you can practice and test different things out. Keep in mind that different browsers behave differently, and browsers are always trying to improve performance. Things may change. For example, Chrome right now is working on having JavaScript not be parser blocking and rendering in the background. So keep that in mind as you explore some of those different topics that we practiced in these videos. Have fun, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.